I get to briefly share with you, in my opinion, one of the most important areas of our business that we could truly master, we could truly learn. You know, and I believe that this 24-hour game plan is one of the most important areas of our business. And I thank God for my mentor teaching me and really making me understand that if I could simply master this 24-hour game plan, that I could build an organization, you know, that will just be bigger than I could possibly imagine. And the purpose of the 24-hour game plan is to launch a new representative properly. And I believe that it is so important to have a representative start in ACN properly. And I know Mr. Larry Raskin at one of the conventions said he looks at ACN as a 5-year success university. And I believe when we launch new representatives, we need to plant a seed in people's mind. And I want to just briefly share with you, just a few months back, I was flying back from Charlotte to Las Vegas, and I sat next to a doctor, and he's a brain surgeon. And he was going to be doing a seminar in Las Vegas as a brain surgeon. He's like director, and he was going to talk about some of the new technologies that came out for brain surgeons. And it was very interesting conversation for 3-4 hours. He said, your brain works like a strawberries, you know, as long as you don't smush it, you know, it's okay, you know, you could bounce it around. I'm like, wow, you know, whoa, you know, right? You know, and we went out, and right before we got off the plane, and I asked him a question. I said, what does it take to become a brain surgeon? I said, let me tell you. He said, first you got to go to regular college for about 4 years, good college, and after that you go to med school for another 4 years. And he said, when you go to med school, average good med school in the United States will cost you about $75,000 a year, including living costs, and they will make you study over 100, 120 hours a week where you're not going to have any time to get a job. And after that 4 years of med school, after you graduate, you go into 7 to 10 years of internship program. The most you can make in that 7 to 10 years is $25,000 to $32,000 a year. Exact words from his mouth. He said, you're better off being a plumber for those 7 to 10 years, because they will work you over 100 hours a week for less than $25,000 to $32,000 a year. He said, after the 7 to 10 years of internship program, now you're qualified to go out there and become a brain surgeon. So I started doing the math in my mind. I'm talking 4 years minimum of college, another 4 years of med school, another 7 to 10 years. That's almost combined of, you know, I mean, that's 8 plus 7. That's like 15 to 18 years of just studying and practicing before even they have an opportunity to go out there and earn as a profession a brain surgeon. And in that time, for 15 to 18 years, they're not making any money. And I started thinking about the ACN opportunity and remembered what Mr. Raskin said. He said, ACN is a success university. And I've entered ACN University 4 years ago. I haven't even been here for 5 years. I know I have not graduated ACN yet. I'm still learning every single day. You know, but while we're learning, the difference between ACN University and any other universities out there is the fact that we earn while we learn in ACN. We don't have to wait for 15 to 18 years to go out there and start living your dreams. ACN, by paying attention and being able to make 6-figure income my first year in ACN, is because while we're learning, I didn't master ACN first year, but I was learning. And as we were learning and going through the obstacles but passing the test is how we start earning the business. And when we graduate in ACN, as many of you heard before, we get an MBA in ACN. MBA stands for what? Massive bank account. In my opinion, I'm not talking bad about the other MBAs, but this MBA I like better. And on top of that, somebody like me who also has a PhD, I mean, it's awesome. You know, public high school diploma, PhD and MBA. You know, sometimes in Las Vegas, we call each other doctors and professors. You know, so we could truly learn and have a great time in ACN. And 24-hour game plan is an area that every single one of us want to master. So let's launch a new representative properly. And we want to have them understand their role properly, which is inviting. As a brand new representative being launched in first 24 hours, they shouldn't be presenting, they shouldn't be explaining, they should be inviting. And the goal is to get their best 10 people to take a look at ACN within first 24 hours of their business. And I believe that even though that we should never prejudge, because somebody looked at me a few years back and introduced me to the business, even though I didn't speak English, I wasn't the most qualified person, but at the same time, there are also good quality people that we know. I believe that we could start off by introducing to the business, so later on we could introduce more and more and more people. And I call that a VIP 10 list. Your first 10 people you invite to take a look at ACN. You want to ask yourself, how many of you guys want to have people in your team that's better than you, more qualified than you, has a bigger network than you? So ask yourself these 10 questions, and every new representative that gets started, ask them these 10 questions. Number one, who's the most successful person you know? How many of you in this room would like to have a multi-millionaire in your organization building your business for you that you could get residual income from? Next question, most credible person you know. Who's the most credible person you know? Who's the most honest person you know? Who's the most aggressive person you know? Who's the most influential person you know? Who is the person with the largest network? Who's the person with the best personality? Who's the person with the best work ethic? Who's the sharpest person you know? Who's the person that you love the most? Who's the one that, who cares about you the most? And these are the people that I believe that initially in first VIP 10, we should introduce to ACN and have every person we introduce to the business introduce ACN. And here's why. And if you're taking notes, I want to challenge you to write this one down. And this saying that Mr. Jerry Balla has taught me a few years ago has absolutely changed my life. And he said, Danny, in ACN, every person you work with, you need to believe that they could be a regional vice president. However, you need to work as if they're going to quit in the next 48 hours. I want to say that one more time because I really want that to sink in every single one of us in this building. So you need to believe that everybody could be a regional vice president, but you need to work as if everybody's going to quit in the next 48 hours. Now let me ask you a question. The person who just got started today, and you know that they know a successful person that's on their VIP 10 list, the person who has the hugest network in that city on their list, and you knew because you just saw the future that they were going to quit in 48 hours. How many of you will procrastinate and wait for 5 days or 10 days before you get together with them to have them invite their best people to take a look at ACN? The reason I believe in VIP 10 is because what if they invite the 10 easiest people to talk to first and 48 hours later they're not in the business? Are you guys with me on this? So even though we treat everybody as if they're going to be regional vice presidents, and I believe that every single one of us and every person we run into and everybody that gets started in ACN, they could become a regional vice president, but in case, we need to make sure that we invite their best people right away in first 24 hours. And the VIP 10, I personally recommend you to do 3-way calls with them. Get together with your leaders. Get together with your executive team trainers and team leaders and team coordinators and regional vice presidents. And the best way to invite in the beginning for these great quality people is to just invite and pass over the phone. And the 3-way approach, it goes like this. Imagine I'm a brand new representative. I'm sitting